Panther Nation, the C3 Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com.
I had fun, man. Just out, the guys joking. We working at the same time. Putting the work in as a team. Like I said, I'm just glad to be with the guys.
My favorite night of the week.
We're gonna go out there and we're playing to win. We're not out here just to show up. We're out here to win.
I don't want guys that want to win, because really, who doesn't? Nobody wants to win. Everybody wants to win. I want players that hate to lose.
This embodies everything that we are as a team, as an organization. Our motto is keep pounding. And that's what we do. What I'm saying?
Hey, what's the deal, Panther fans? It's your boy, the Professor, a.k.a. Tony Dunn, and this is the C3 Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. I do it with my best bud, Joe Riolano. How's it going, my man?
Oh, Tony, I'm doing so good. It was a gorgeous day down in the low country of South Carolina today. I have been looking forward to tonight all day long. I am ready to talk some Carolina Panthers football.
Fantastic. We got a fun show tonight. Tonight's show is Rivera Fortifies and Inside OTAs with Charlotte Vibe, who will be Chris Jenkins from Charlotte Vibe will be joining us in the next 5 or 10 minutes or so. We got some good OTA stuff to talk about. We've got Ron Rivera defending the team, Kelvin Benjamin specifically, and really starting to look at himself a little bit and how he can grow. So without, I guess, further ado, we should probably go ahead and get into the show. But I should mention this, guys. If you are watching on YouTube right now, just go ahead and smash that like button, hit the share, subscribe to the show. That really helps. Also, if you're on Facebook Live, I will be trying to monitor those comments as best as possible. Here, I saw Jason Miller is watching right now, so thanks for joining the broadcast. You go ahead and smash that like button as well and share this around the board. We really appreciate that. Now, you can also find the show on iTunes, Stitcher, and if you really like what you hear, consider donating. You can find all that information for our Patreon accounts on the C3 website and in the show notes on YouTube. And I think that's it. Joe, did you have a good Memorial Day weekend? I saw you out on the boat.
I had so much. Just the weather was perfect. Actually, Memorial Day yesterday, we went on to the boat with my in-laws, and we spent the day out in the water. It was really, really nice.
But fantastic, man. It's nice to see you spending some time with the family. Enjoy that while you can, because those moments are fleeting sometimes. In fact, I was just enjoying my evening cooking dinner, late night warrior, right before probably 8 o'clock, finishing up dinner. And right as we're about to sit down, I mean, that's 1 hour ago, Gabriella is walking to the table, slips for no reason at all other than slippery socks, and busts her face wide open, like blood everywhere. So never a dull moment, but even in those moments, it's still great to be with friends and family. And a shout out to our friends and family on YouTube. I see Lynn's out there. Gene Thomas from Buck What You Heard is watching. Everybody go and check out his show on YouTube. Does a fantastic job covering the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a very similar format from the fan perspective, as well as I saw that at Braves Johnny will be joining the show, or at least in the chat room tonight. Can't wait to hear what these guys got to say. So, Joe, I guess last week when we left off, OTAs had just started kicking off, and it was fat grams for Kelvin Benjamin. And this week has been nothing but people talking about how slim he is and how crisp his route running is. In fact, the guy that is leading the charge in that is Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera came out and talked about how impressed he was that Kelvin Benjamin had shed the weight and really gotten serious. But then he went on further and talked about how crisp his route running was and how good he was catching the ball. I thought it went. That's why I named the show Rivera Fortifies, because he is gone from being very critical of his team in the last couple of weeks, I guess, or in the last months, to now I think we're seeing the old Rivera getting his boys back. And maybe we could see a little Ron Rivera taking the fall for some of these things, because I think that that's something that he stopped doing as much. And maybe that's an accountability thing. But, Joe, do you buy it? Is Kelvin Benjamin now the greatest route runner ever?
I think Ron Rivera is just patting KB on the back, so to speak. He was critical of him
Yeah.
earlier when this whole thing started about KB being fat. And now he comes in saying that he's impressed with his weight loss and how good his route running has been. I think he's just patting him on the back, letting him know he's not in the doghouse, so to
Right.
speak. And, Benjamin's a relatively young player, so I'm sure that was to kind of strengthen his psyche, make him, his confidence. So I don't know how much of it is actually true as opposed to just being a mental game with Rivera.
Yeah, I think I guess it's like being a parent. It's hard to balance being somebody's friend and buddy as well as the authority figure while encouraging but not puffing up. And this is something that I have to deal with. Is you tell a kid that he's the best all the time. He doesn't think he can do any wrong. At the same time, just putting him down isn't good itself. I think the one thing that has stuck out to me is that I just feel like Ron Rivera's handled a little bit more of this publicly than I thought he would. And what I mean by that is that you kind of just characterize him as the old school coach who is, look, let's face it, we called him a player's coach for the first 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a guy that always had to back and steady the course? And I felt like he's aired a little laundry a little bit more publicly than I was prepared to accept or I thought he would. I don't know if this is him trying to, redirect or recalculate where he's at, reroute if you are a GPS, but he has, I don't know, maybe it's a generational thing too, Joey, is that, maybe he knows that dealing with the younger kids, this is where you shame them in public. That's where you really get their attention.
Yeah, I have to say is the generation, the differences in the generation for Ron Rivera and what we have now is pretty significant. And I believe Ron Rivera knows that and is using that knowledge to his advantage.
Yeah.
Back when he played, I don't think there was as much encouragement as you better get the job done or your backside is going to be out on the street or you're going to be looking for another job, that kind of thing. Whereas now, players are more sensitive, but players are more sensitive.
Yeah, they are. Well, we all are in so many ways. And we should be to a degree when everything is so public. Imagine if you went through a divorce, Joe, and then not only is that emotional and all of these things that are swirling around you, but then to have people commentating on the sidelines, your divorce, or you having to be just so public with everything.
Right.
It does put a lot of strain. Cody Latney says, we have to stop being so critical of KB. He had a mediocre year coming off an ACL tear that he wasn't confident in, and we're already crucifying him. I agree with that, and I think that one thing I think we've tried to do on this show so far is to not overindulge in the KB criticism, is that I found it to be too easy. Anytime a criticism gets so amped up, so loud among fans, I tend to pause a little bit. Whether it be with like going back, if you go back and listen to all the shows, I think that while we have been critical of, say, someone like Mike Shula, is that we know that's just the easy out. To just throw him under the bus, right? And I feel like this is too, is that, and we said this last week, is that like I refrained completely from getting involved in the banter and the joke making because it does seem to be overcritical or there be a little bit too much on it. But I will say, last week, Joey, you mentioned right at the end of the show, Bill Voth comes out and says, gosh, I didn't think that this tweet was going to cause this much problems. So today they start off OTAs, and you know what Bill Vo's tweet was? It was a picture. It was a video of Curtis Samuel sped up, and it was like, no need to call this guy slow or something to that effect. And you got a 4.3 guy that they already put in fast forward. And I think though that shows that they're watching too. Is that and I always feel like this is while the fans can be so the other way with things. And what I mean by like off the right wing, left, just pick one, whatever side of the planet. It's almost like politics, is that fans are either like all the way on one end of the spectrum, and then the media or the people close to the team are all the way on the other end of the spectrum. And
Exactly.
so like you'll be like, oh, Kelvin Benjamin looks overweight, and they'll be like, no, he's 32 pounds underweight. I mean, it's just this complete polarization of things. And so while fans are flipping out and reacting and going crazy, at the same time the media backpedals. And I saw this. It was like Jordan Rodriguez, who's an Observer reporter. She tweeted like, here's a 7-second video of Kelvin Benjamin for y'all to go crazy with. And it's like reverse mocking.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is reverse mocking. Fans always look for the best. Always are, positive. Definitely slighted toward the good of the team.
Sure.
Whereas reporters generally take a more neutral approach and can be critical when they feel it's deserved.
So we try to find balance in a little bit in the middle, and what we need is we want to see Kelvin Benjamin continue to progress as a wide receiver. We want to see Cam Newton continue to progress, and that's somebody also I saw there've been a lot of pictures of Cam. He looks like he's chomping at the bit to play some football.
Oh yeah, he looks ready. I know he's been at these OTAs, and he's really been an influence in the OTAs by his chatter, constantly talking up the guys. I guess doing some ribbing of different players out there. So he is 100% involved, and that's great because even though he can't participate in the team drills throwing the football wise, he's still out there making sure everybody knows, who the leader on the team is.
Yeah, I'm happy to see that. Very focused looking. Bill Voth giving us some great pictures from the Panthers side, and there's this picture of him walking in, and Bill Voth used it to talk about how you feel on Tuesday after a long weekend. But boy, Cam Newton's walking to the practice field with the hood up, and my man just looks like he could be an assassin. Like he was so
business.
Gosh, I was excited to hear that. I'm excited to see that. Let's see some other things I saw today. Ron Rivera said that he took some accountability for this and probably needed to mention Shula, maybe not mention Shula, but we need to understand he's also talking about Shula in this case, saying that they didn't properly use Funchess last year. And, that was kind of a hard thing to do. I think what they realized, and we saw this with this draft, Joey, is that complementary players sometimes is a good thing to have. And it was tough. Like you can't sit Ted Ginn because he was the best weapon you had at the time. And you can't sit Benjamin if you think he's a better option overall. Right. But you can't just force working these guys into these multiple receiver sets when you don't have enough protection for Cam. So they were in a rock and a hard spot, and they've done some things, I think. But I like to hear that maybe, and that makes me see that, like, look, maybe Funchess is doing the right things.
Yeah, I think Funchess was not used adequately last year, and I think it was a numbers game. There were a few times when he came in and frankly, he dropped a couple passes, kind of looked out of sync. So, there was some of it, I suppose, has to be put on him as well. But this is his year. He's going to have a really, really good opportunity to make a difference. He's a big guy. We've got two big receivers, and now we've got some really, really much needed speed on this team. Will have an effect on his ability to get open and where he can get into coverage to be open and Cam to find him. So I'm really interested in seeing how he does this year. It's really, I think, a make or break season for him.
Do you think there are any? And what made me think about this is Lynn's comment in the YouTube chat, and that is that they're glad to know he's making his presence known at OTAs with Cam Newton. Do you know if there's any a starting quarterback around the league who doesn't attend OTAs? Joe, I mean, do you know? I don't know if I heard that.
One, but I imagine if somebody's in a contract dispute, like they're really upset, that it's possible they could, sit out OTAs. But I can't think of one that is currently.
Okay.
Other than somebody who might be injured.
All right. Joe, we've got our special guest here tonight, Chris Jenkins of Charlotte Vibe, the inside reporter we brought in to give us the inside tip on OTAs, even though he's dipping out of the screen as I'm introducing my man. Chris Jenkins. Yeah, he's back. Chris Jenkins, credentialed reporter in Charlotte, been attending all the OTAs. Glad to have you. Been watching all your periscopes, and thank you for bringing us that inside, Chris.
For sure.
Might get me fired though, man. You never know.
Oh, no. You can do that. We won't be the ones that do it. I was watching your Periscope today. Chris, you got in a little trouble. You got a little text message from Big Cat saying, slow down over there, bud. Over something very trivial, it seems like. But Chris, tell us, first of all, what happened today at OTAs that got you in trouble?
Hey, I need a link, guys. I got to share this link on Twitter with everybody that's watching. So shoot me the link so I can put that out there. I didn't get in trouble today.
Okay.
For the record, I didn't get in trouble today.
Yesterday?
It was last week. So, I think OTAs are a good thing for us reporters too, because we mess up a lot. There's this routine we have to get into, which I'm not quite into yet. Last week, I was running late. I get to the field. I'm like, I got to get these pictures. And I took an awesome picture of Cam Newton watching practice. And that's a no-no. You're not supposed to take any pictures of the team together. Only individual drills can you take pictures.
That's crazy.
What do you mean by together? As in,
the whole team working as a unit.
Okay,
right,
well,
you can't
question about that I saw is so you take a picture of them working the sled 5 people at a time?
Yeah, because that's not a play, but I can't get them running team drills. Team scrimmages.
Okay. But wasn't he just watching?
But he was watching, you had the view of the entire offense versus defense.
Oh, yeah, so it was the backgrounds that got you.
Yes. If I had gotten Cam and somehow super blurred out what he was watching, then it would have been clear. But look, I must say, and I'm not being politically correct, that it was a violation. And I get it. They don't want to show people their formations and other stuff ahead of time. So it was completely my mistake.
That's what I was wondering. If you're talking about a still photo, it's not like you were taking video. It's just one shot, and who's to say what was going on in one still? I don't know. I think it's ridiculous, but I understand the concern. Seems pretty ridiculous. So.
They are pretty protective, Joe, over all of these things. I mean,
you're right.
And what I think is amazing is we can beg them for attention. Like as an organization, we can beg these players for attention. When we talk to them, compliment them, write about them, and do all these things, nobody gives us anything. But, boy, they will find you on these most small, random things. Chris, one thing happened to us when we first got started, and we don't even make we don't make $1 off of this. So we were just doing this. We do it for fun as a hobby. And what we did is we chipped in and bought some tickets to a Panthers game. a couple of us, and we said we're going to give these 2 Panther tickets away to someone who sends us a YouTube video or some like personal video that is under 2 minutes that telling us why they're a fan of the Carolina Panthers, and the most compelling video was going to get these 2 tickets. And boy, if you didn't know, a day later, before anybody even sends in a dang video, the Panthers are in my email box in Gmail, and they were very nice. Now, I want to compliment that on that. They said, look, this is not against the rules, but they basically said you're small potatoes, so we'll let you slide this one time.
Basically, that's exactly.
But so it is interesting. You will find out the rules quickly if you don't know them. That's for sure. So
what was the violation you guys did? So they didn't like that you were giving away tickets?
You can't give away. The ticket is not your property, technically. Technically, the ticket is the Carolina Panthers property that gains you entrance into their event, and they do not want any tickets given away without their approval in case they conflict with sponsorships. So
that was very profound.
Yeah, you have to flip over the back of the ticket, and it'll say, this is not your stuff. This just gets you in, but this is not your property. They were nice. They were very nice about it. So I'm not, but you will learn. You'll learn these things. I tried to get credentialed last year just for a couple of days. I was like, come on, let me get press pass. And they said, we don't give them to independent journalists. And I was like, I'm not going to pick a fight, but I'm about to reel off 5 names of people that I know have credentials that are independents. But it's okay. Like, I'm just going to go sweat. I don't want to sweat out in the middle of the field with y'all anyway. All right. It's not. And I guess the cool thing is you look cool and you get the thing, and in case they are on the other side of the field, you were talking about this in your Periscope on the third field.
Case.
What? Oh, you mean they're always over there? They are always on that backfield, aren't they? There is that one day they do it like in the front. And you've got to get over there. You got to pull out your super lens on your camera and try to get the best you can. But all right, we brought you on to give us the inside tip on other than how to get in trouble with the Carolina Panthers.
Yes.
We've told you those inside tips, folks. Now, tell us, is Kelvin Benjamin as lean and muscular as they can be? No, I'm just kidding. I felt like we should.
2% body fat.
What's that?
He's at 2% body fat.
Oh gosh, whatever. Really? Is that what he said?
No,
22%.
22. That's not that bad. But all right, so your general impression overall, how's the overall atmosphere is really what I want to see. Is that, last year you're coming off the Super Bowl, the fear of the hangover, you get the opposite. You find yourself out of a job in 2016, essentially, as the Carolina Panthers at the bottom of the barrel. Is there optimism among this bunch, or are they serious? What is the overall temperature that you get?
Yeah, there's a lot of optimism. I can't say that those guys are super high on this really big high emotion. It just seems like most of the guys are excited about the new pieces and just ready to see how it really starts to gel. I don't think they've completed the gelling process yet.
Right.
It's only the second week, but it seems like the guys are just really anxious to see what kind of chemistry is going to come about, because I think a lot of people do internally like the fact that they have these veterans that have some really good credentials that are now on the team and that they could learn from. They're just, again, waiting to see how that comes to fruition.
Yeah.
I want to know, Chris, in 2016, well, let me go back. In 2015, there was just a lot of fun that the team was having. They were playing football. They were playing at a really high level, but it was fun to them. And, you saw the joy on their faces and really the love and passion they had for the game. In 2016, you didn't see that as much. Some of the players had departed, and obviously the season didn't go as planned. Do you see that same sort of atmosphere or the potential passion and joy for the game that they had in 2015 in this, what you've seen of OTA so far?
Yeah, I predict that they're going to come out with a lot of energy, a lot of energy. And Cam Newton's going to be the cheerleader of that energy because he was when they were winning.
Yep.
You know, last year they didn't have a good season. I think he kind of went down, and everybody goes down with the quarterback. That's why he gets the $100 million, right?
Right.
I think with the excitement of having the veterans and the draft picks, and then what's going to happen is Cam's going to be back. And Cam's, I'm telling you, I could see Cam today. I don't think I'll put the picture out there yet, and it is a legal picture, so it will
I
be
know.
out
Do
there.
you have to like run them by them now? It's like I feel like it's like what Trump should do for his tweets. He should run them by somebody.
I think the picture's already out there actually, but Cam's like this. I didn't put all of them out there. There's one frame where he's more like this, and he's grimacing, making the face. He like cocks it back, but he can't throw it, right? And so I think that's just him being disciplined to know that he can't. But I say once he finally gets that chance to start throwing the football again, because again, he got all these new weapons. He got these speedsters. He got some new linemen.
Right.
And once he gets back on there, that's going to culminate with the start of the season that they're certainly going to come out guns blazing. Well, you know, hopefully it'll carry through and be a pretty good season. But I really predict, you know, if not more energy than they had on that Super Bowl run. You know, a lot of that energy came from the fact that they were undefeated. But I think they're going to come out with a lot of just raw energy this year.
Joe, I want to give a shout out to some people on Facebook right now. Zach Luttrell is from Roaring Riot is in the chat room, as well as Alex Helms from the Panthers Poundcast. So glad to have some of the top representatives of Panther Nation around here. I was gonna say this is that with Cam Newton, you see how he must be feeling pretty good if he's out there doing all of these things and moving around, moving his feet a lot. Wanting to throw the ball. The scary part about all this, Joe, have you ever seen Rookie of the Year?
I think so.
You remember when the little kid broke his arm and then they give him the surgery and then he comes back and it's wound up super tight and he's throwing like speed bullets? Yeah. I hope Cam Newton's shoulder isn't tight because, boy, those poor receivers are going to have holes in their hands when it's all said. They won't have any hands. I was going to, with the talk about this energy, one of the things that I've been starting to see, and I want to know if it's manufactured or real, is that Shaq Thompson has become a much more vocal component of this team to where you're starting to see him, it seems like a step into a veteran type role or a more experienced role. And I know we're talking about going into his third year as a player. Those things are natural, but the coaching staff comes out and says, we've got to do a better job of getting him involved, finding a way to get him on the field. It seems like he's responding. All of a sudden, he's been more in front of the microphone a lot. Is this a natural? Do you see Shaq being more vocal, or what is it? Or is this just us honing in on anything? Do you see, or is he just one guy among those people, like maybe, because I see him, I see K'Wan Short, I see Mario Addison, these types of people starting to become the new level of veterans underneath like a Cam and a Kuechly as the leaders of the team. Do you get that sense, or am I just chasing rabbits?
For Shaq, I haven't got the vibe yet.
Right.
I know a while back, Thomas Davis had a post about Shaq going to be more involved, and that will help him play a longer career. I didn't get to research why he said that, because I don't see that Shaq's going to take snaps away from Thomas. I would see Shaq, Thomas, and Kuechly all out there at the same time, and you got Cass and these other linebackers that are going to be coming into that. But you know, today I think I did see Shaq talking to a group of reporters. I was already interviewing somebody else, so I couldn't dive over there and see.
Right.
So, but I can attest to in previous years, he wasn't too vocal. I mean, he would talk to you if you came to him, but he wasn't always ready to be vocal. And I don't know if I could verify that he's ready to be vocal yet, because, you know, today in media day, if all the reporters hoard to come to you, then you kind of got to talk. And I didn't get a chance to hear his responses. So,
have you ever seen a player in your time, because I think you said you've been credentialed for almost 10 years now. In your time, have you ever seen a guy come out of his shell or in a way that was similar, because I feel like, we want these guys to be these certain things. We want them to either be vocal, but sometimes you're just not. Sometimes you got different ways of motivating yourself. Have you ever, is this something natural where guys just become more comfortable with the ropes?
Yeah, I can certainly see a guy. What you always see are the rookies having a lot of respect for the guys that are in there because they understand that they don't know everything. Of course, they're eager to succeed. And if Shaq is getting stronger, is, maybe hearing internally about expectations for him being higher, then I could see if that's part of his true character, being that leader, that he's now saying, okay, I can let this out because now, third year, I've always had this, and now I can speak up, and other people will be supportive of that. I know the system now. So it could be. He could come out. I wouldn't say it was a change of character if he did, because a guy's doing that a lot.
Right. I've been trying to get his attention because we have an inside tip on Shaq Thompson, because we have a guy, Greg Double G Ball, from Seattle. He writes for the Seattle Times, I think he's called it. Time. And we've brought him on several times onto the show to give us the inside tips on Shaq Thompson. And he told us all these things about how Shaq Thompson went like 0 for 68 or 1 for 64 when he played professional ball, and then he quit, and he said he couldn't hit the curveball. So he gave us that good line. And then the other one is that he met Shaquille O'Neal one time when he was young, like in high school or something like this, in a hotel for like they were a football team out, but he was playing basketball or baseball, and they were in the same hotel as Shaquille O'Neal. And he said, I'm Shaq. He said, well, I'm football Shaq. And so they call him. So like he didn't just bow to Shaquille O'Neal, but he was like, no, I'm football Shaq. You could be basketball Shaq, but I'm football Shaq. So every time I see him at like OTAs, I mean, not OTAs, but at training camp and stuff, I always yell football Shaq, hoping that I could get some attention, just a nod. So you could drop that one. That's my tip to you. I did see he said this. You said those reporters were crowding him today. Jordan Rodriguez was one of those, obviously, and she asked him, ask Shaq Thompson, she tweeted this, ask Shaq Thompson if David Mayo is the new AJ Klein. And I hope Shaq Thompson becomes more vocal, because what was his response was, David Mayo is David Mayo, and he is out there doing David Mayo things. I love it. I love it. So not the next AJ Klein. Maybe he's just the next David Mayo. But I'm excited about that.
I guarantee you who he's going to be. He's going to be the next Luke.
Oh, God. Oh, no. Not with that hair, he's not. Oh, my gosh. Has he cut it off yet? Can you tell us that? See if you can remember that. Next time you're out, tweet me and say Mayo has long hair or short hair, because he has one picture on the Pro Football Reference where he's got a shaved head, and then all the other pictures he's got that long hair. It looks like a combination between Thor and Joe. Who was that old guy that was the rock and roll Kid Rock? He looks like a combination between Thor and Kid Rock. All right. So we got.
I can't give you a haircut update though.
Okay.
I'm looking through my pictures real quick to see if I got Mayo walking in, but I can tell you who has a new hairdo.
Please say Julius Peppers.
Oh, he didn't come out today.
God damn.
I'll give you one more.
All right.
AKA Sunshine.
Oh, he's got the short hair. Right?
Brenton Burson has his new mid-length.
Oh, really?
Fro hair.
Get out of here.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll send you. I don't know how to share my screen with you, but I saw him. I'm like, what? I'd rather you have a ponytail. It's like this long.
Oh, he's getting like he's about to get the mullet. The mullet is coming, folks. All right, I got a problem with Panthers media. I don't know if they're trolling everybody, but today they put a picture of Mike Adams.
That's you saying that. That is not me saying that. No, I'm just a person on the show.
Right. I don't really got a problem with them, but like what I'm saying is they put out one of those cool videos that gets us all excited, and then you just got to wonder why they put Mike Adams in the picture right beside Brenton Burson, because it looks like Father Time beside a 12-year-old. Yeah, it's like talk about juxtaposing age right there. A couple
Yeah.
of things. I do need to bring some comments in from YouTube. I've kind of ignored it for a second. I did see a couple of things being asked. Shaked wants to know if you think that the Panthers hope to sign TD to more years, or if this contract marks the end.
Is he on his final year?
I don't know. That's a good question. Well, Shaked, is he on his final year? What do you think? And we'll come back to that. And the other one was Lynn. I'm telling you, the girl gang is the most rabid fans of the Carolina Panthers. She said, ask about the new quarterback. And I don't even know who the new quarterback is. So two questions I don't know anything about.
The first question, I think regardless if this is Thomas's last year, that he is certainly a guy that if he wants another contract, that they would go to give him a contract. I really don't think that would be a big deal. I think if they say, okay, we'll give you another year, we'll take a pay cut.
Right.
If Thomas wants to play, I think they would come to terms on that because of the fact that, it's kind of the opposite of Steve Smith. And the fact of his relationship with the team and everybody with it, I feel like they would give him more time, and especially if Shaq's able to, if he's able to grow Shaq and still be effective. I mean, he didn't slow down last year too much.
May I interject before you answer that second question, Chris?
Yep.
I believe I read that it is in fact the case of Shaq Thompson going to be getting more so that way TD can sort of everything that he's taken over the last few years, because the man has played and really an inhuman amount of play 3 years or so. It's just incredible the amount of time he spent on that football field. So I think by decreasing the number of plays he's on the field, we will be able to extend his career some. So if it is his last year, I do believe the Panthers are planning on extending him, because they're trying to,
They're putting him on a pitch count, you're saying?
Basically, yes. Basically. So I'm sorry, Chris. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just thought, I should mention that.
Okay, and the other was Lynn helped me out with this. She's helping me through the show, and that is Garrett Gilbert is the quarterback.
So this is where we're going to have to show my disclaimer that I'm one person and there's like 100 guys out there. And I took one picture today that was cool that had like 6 centers snapping the ball to 6 quarterbacks.
Did you send it to your lawyer? Oh, sorry. I'm just kidding.
Other than Derek Anderson and Joe Webb, Cam Newton, I mean, the other guys are irrelevant. They're just out there to help fill in the time and help with some throws to all these wide receivers. So
basically,
they don't have a chance.
Owen Silver says that he really loves your Periscope broadcast, so keep those coming. Let's
Hey, Go Club's invited on the show. Everybody's invited on the show this year. If you can make it to my studio in Charlotte.
Oh, it's on. You just got to get us on a Saturday, bro, because we're going to be coming because Aaron, Mel Mayock, lives in Charlotte now. So he's going to have a new roommate a couple of times a year, this guy right here. I want to know, did you ever – so I saw one Periscope where you were trying to interview potentially for a co-host. What is can you give us any further news on the status of what is – do you want to where is the co-host coming from? What's the direction this is going? And how did the interview go?
Well, there's a co-host every single year. So that's not new. It's a co-host every single year. And right now, I don't see that changing. It's always going to be a new co-host every single year. Okay. And I don't see a reason to make a big drum roll. But, yes, that will be my new co-host.
Can you tell us her name, please?
It is Devin Moody.
Devin, say it again?
Devin Moody.
Moody. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Don't be confused, folks. Don't confuse your consonants there. All right. What I was going to say, too, is, Chris, are you married?
No.
Because that's right. Because you'd be straight divorced if I brought in a co-host, Joe, that looked like this. Miranda would be on fire. This girl, she broke the camera. She was so bad looking. She was terrible looking. She looked like, good thing her name is Moody and not Booty. Sorry. Nah, very nice young lady. Very nice young lady. I was excited to see it, but I was like, oh God, this comment stream. Y'all are gonna have to start not reading the comments directly, or at least blow them up. Because I saw Chris, he was like looking at the comments, he was like, you are oh God, I don't want to read that. All right. So
I need someone to balance out my good looks, man. I just can't.
I know you can't have a busta on the other side, right? The camera would just be uneven.
Right.
Exactly.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
I had a question, Chris. There's been a lot of amongst the fans. There's been really a lot of hype about our first 2 draft picks. The level of excitement is running really high amongst the fans, and I want to get your input. Have either of these 2 guys impressed you with what you've seen so far? And if so, which one, in your opinion, will have the biggest impact right away?
So, I always like to be real candid with my thoughts and say I'm not I'm just like you guys. I just get to see a different view. For me, I don't get excited about anything in OTAs. You're not even in pads. You're in a helmet. You can't be hit. There's not much to get excited about. The only thing you can really see is some guy's speed.
Or some guys not speed. Sorry, it was slow.
Speed or lack thereof. And he does. McCaffrey, he does look speedy. Both the guys look pretty fast.
Is he even there yet? Is he there?
No, he's not here yet.
Okay, because he's still on that weird quarter system thing, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay.
He'll be, I think, sometime in June he'll be able to join the team. Samuels was there today.
Oh, yeah. That was and he is from Brooklyn, first of all, like that. You don't see a lot of New York City kids playing football, so that's cool. And is he little? Because I don't think he looks all that little.
Yeah, he's small. I mean, I wouldn't say little. I wouldn't say little. I mean, all these guys that play football, they're different heights, but they're all pretty thick.
Yeah. Do you want to race him?
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to race anybody that allows me to. I got a few more years before I can back off these races. Now, of course, I'm going to try to adjust the age thing here. We're not going to say we're even. Give me a few steps. I'm going to take whatever he would give me. If he gives me 10 yards, I'll take the 10 yards. But I'm not going to race it straight up 0 for 0. But yeah, we'll race.
Funny. That's funny because if that's the case and you get 10 yards in the race, when I come into the studio, you got to put a couple of books underneath my seat so I don't look so little. You got to give me the same advantage because you probably you like 6'2"?
No, I'm 6 even.
6 even? Okay, so you still got about 2 inches on me, but still I look like a little kid. So not much. You can only tell so much from OTAs. How much really? One of the things I've always been fascinated with when it comes to the training camp, the OTAs, is that I don't really know how much better they really get in these things. Like they're like, run this route one time, you got it, moving on. Like they don't really like when I think of practice. Like, it's like, we're going to run the same drill 100 times until you throw up. And these guys are so professional and so good at something. They're just like, run it, moving on, run it. It's like, we get one practice kick. Imagine if you only had one practice free throw before you went out before a game. That's how I feel like they are.
Well, I will tell you, it's more than that. It really is them getting on the same page and getting some chemistry, because you'll see the offensive line go to hit the sled. And they practice, Joe, everything from how they break the huddle to how they line up to snap counts and everything. So today, that coach and that offensive line coach is mean, boy. They didn't break the huddle in the way that he thought they should. He screamed at them, come right back, get in this huddle, say
Wow.
it right, break, and go, and then hit the sled. So they can't do a ton of repetitions, but they do really focus on this chemistry, timing, and technical stuff. So that once they do get on the pads and they are down in that 100-degree Spartanburg, it's not so much I'm not spending time teaching you. And that's something that Coach Rivera really stressed that he's expecting of his players. He wants the smart players because he doesn't want to spend that time teaching. He wants to spend time executing and learning how to beat the other opponent.
Right. So do you think that it is the rookies and the undrafted free agents that get the most out of these OTAs?
I think they get the most because they're so new. So they have so
Right.
much to absorb and learn, but it's still also, to a lesser degree, getting the veterans in shape, but also letting them learn the timing and how the other guys communicate. So, again, they got a lot of veterans, and there's body language that you get from playing with the guy. There's instincts that you get from playing with the guy, so they'll help that. But the biggest impact is going to be on the rookies and first, 1-2 year players.
What do you think about, personal question here, what do you think about Julius Peppers and those plaits? Has he still got them crazy plaits, man? And first of all, I made you grin because I'm the only white boy that knows they're called plaits since damn Kid and Play from House Party.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in person yet, to be honest with you, which is kind of weird.
You ever had plaits?
But I had twist.
Okay, twist.
So I didn't have the flat.
A shorter version.
I had to take it up a level and get bougie with mine. They were like, you get this gel and this. I had to go to a salon and everything, man.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It was interesting.
I feel like if you were a decade older, I could just imagine. You remember in Coming to America when they had, wasn't it that, Joe, where they had the remember they had the hair gel dude, the family that had the fro juice or whatever, and then they all got up off the couch.
Oh no!
Here's a little tip for you: is this kid right here had some style when he was young. I've got I'm Italian, like Southern Italian, and so my hair grows. I've got thick, coarse hair, and it grows out. So I can't go no David Mayo mess. I got a fro. When it grows big, it starts to fro up. And when I was in high school, I was committed. I went probably 6 months trying to get to this, and we undercut all of it, and I grew the top out, and the whole goal was to try to get some plaits. The whole goal, and I didn't get there. I wanted to put the little beads in it. That was the whole goal, was to get to where I put beads in my head, like the little white ones. So. Just disclaimer. I think Chris may have froze up on me. Either that or I scared him away. He did freeze up. If you did freeze up, you might want to leave and come back. Joe, guess what? We got some news for ECU news coming to the Carolina Panthers. Zeke Bigger, former ECU linebacker, signed with Carolina Panthers to the 90-man squad. Just got the news yesterday. Already practicing with the team.
That's good. I'm excited about that. I saw that yesterday myself, and I think one thing that I'm kind of torn about is Boulware being, on the team as well. In my mind, there's both make the team. Unfortunately, I think it'll only be one of the two.
I don't think either of them make the team, to be honest, if you really just want to be realistic about it.
I'm hoping at least one of the two makes it. Even if just on the practice squad, I like the passion I see from Boulware, and Bigger has like crazy intensity. So we'll see.
Yeah, good feel good stories. The one thing that's cool about Zeke Bigger is that he didn't graduate last year. He graduated the year before. He's had a whole year off where he didn't get no combine invite. He did play in a spring developmental league this past year. But I like to see this because, guys, it's nice to see these dudes not giving up on their dreams. And more, just another great example of why then the NFL is in such a need of a developmental league. Because guys like this is that, hey, and you know what? If you can make $2,000 a week or whatever they make to be on the practice squad, that's like 10 times more than the average American makes.
Sign me up.
Or 30 times more than the average American makes. So, you know, you want to root for these guys to make the big time and all of that. But even if they just make a roster or a practice squad, that's something to clap over.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just to be able to say, hey, I'm on the Carolina Panthers practice squad. You know, if certain events take place, there's a potential that you would be called up and you could be on the sideline in a uniform one day. You know, how awesome is that?
My wife is in here taking pictures of me, Joe, right now because my sister is doing something, obviously, for Father's Day for me because she sent us a text message saying Christmas, maybe she's a real good planner, my wife said. But she was like, send us a picture of him at a game and him doing his podcast. So she's in here taking pictures of me. Cody says he thinks Ben makes the team. He'll make it on effort and leadership qualities. I think they would move him to outside linebacker, though. Shockhead says this. Serious question, Tony. Please ask Chris if he knows what the Panthers' plan for FanFest is. I'm going to go ahead and say he does not know that yet because they haven't even – I don't think they've released the date yet. I do say this. The story with FanFest this year is going to be how the tickets are divvied up, right? So after in the past is that FanFest was lackluster for a long time, and over the last 5 or 6 years it's become a bigger and bigger event for fans, where it's been more people coming to the point where this was in the 2015 year. Going into 2015, we had just won 2 divisional championships in a row. They had moved it from Saturday in the day, I think, till Friday evening. So you can do the fireworks. It's fantastic. It was very big. It was very big that year, and they said we've got to do something a little bit better with the distribution of things. So they then tried to give out tickets, like you pre-registered for the tickets. But then they sold out so quickly. You had people hoarding tickets and trying to sell them on StubHub and things like this. And there was a lot of negative publicity for the Carolina Panthers organization when it came to FanFest because, you know, the pendulum swung from one way of no organization to one way of being overly organized. So I will say this, Shaked, that is the story to watch. And I'm speaking for Chris on this. Chris, welcome back. Is that one of the questions we had where you're gone is, have you heard anything about FanFest? And I just went ahead and said no, because the Panthers haven't even figured that out themselves yet.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about FanFest.
Okay.
I could ask.
Yeah, that's one thing to think about is that we've got some insiders. We've got Chris Jenkins. We've got Bill Voth on our team now. He doesn't know it yet, but these are all guys that we've all tapped into their brains before. We got a plant. I do. Here, you want some good questions? I got good questions. They need to bring me in, guys. Credential me. My question is this. I sent Bill Voth a tweet. He's back behind there. He's holding this glass board, or it looked like he was holding it. This like plexiglass, basically like your backdrop right here that you got going on, Chris. Yeah, the Panthers have one, but it's like this clear plexiglass where they trot out to wherever Coach Rivera is standing so they can get the Panthers emblem behind him. What's up with Spike Lee holding that thing? And you got to go back and look at this. Yeah, there is a guy that works for the Panthers who is a Spike Lee lookalike. So I tweeted Bill and I said, how'd you get to hold that board with Spike Lee? And he goes, man, I got some good FaceTime. I was like, but look out for a Spike Lee lookalike at practice. That's my thing on this. Chris, I was on your Periscope, you said you're working on 2 stories. 2 stories that you got bringing us some inside tips. Can you give us anything more than 2?
You want more than 2? Meaning
No,
some depth to
not
those
more.
2.
Like, yeah, exactly. Because I can't really say that I got an inside tip on anything if I just said, well, he told me there was 2.
Yeah, well, these stories aren't like breaking news kind of things. They're just, I like to try to do cool things.
This is what we like.
You like the cool stuff?
We like fan stuff, man. We like stuff that brings us a personal vibe to things. You see what I did there? Vibe?
I like it, man. You're on. I got the books ready for you at the studio.
See? The J.C. Penney catalog is what I had to sit on back in the day.
Yeah, those are thick. So one of the stories, unfortunately, Joe Person over there at Observer wrote about it today, which is the Panthers are no longer using those scissor lifts to have guys on top watching the play. They now have these telescopic, I learned that word today. I was just going to say poles before today, right?
These erector sets.
Yeah. And, he just wrote about it. So hopefully I can still bring that to light in a different way with some different photos and video of how they now watch practice. And it's a really cool, I was going to say as big as this room that I'm sitting in, but you guys can't see the room. But it's like a full-size car inside where this guy sits, and he has, I think, just 2. He doesn't have a lot of screens, but they're really big, and he's just controlling all the cameras that are recording practice.
So he sits down at the base and controls like the 360 eye up at the top.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, that's pretty cool. I would say I'd be a little bit more blown away if I heard something about drones, but I guess that's next year. Also,
the battery life of those things are a challenge these days.
The other thing, which is not a good inside tip, is today when I was watching your Periscope and you said I had to get used to some things with the locker room and I got to go in all there with blinders. And I was like, this poor guy, he didn't realize that Cam Newton likes to walk around with not his romper on.
I mean, it was just, my experience when I first started going there was, it could kind of be one experience if it's just guys in there. But like when it comes into a commercial situation where you just let 20 reporters, male and female, and camera operators and all this go into this room of all these guys doing whatever they want to do in a locker room.
That's awesome. That's so awesome.
It's pretty different.
I bet. Imagine if you were Miss Moody. Sorry, that was a joke. And you had to walk in there, and those mugs talk about making you feel uncomfortable as a female reporter. I mean, that's something that they probably for a long time had to get past. I mean, imagine the jokes you get, the offhand comments, the locker room talk, if you will, when it comes to that. So Lynn says this on YouTube is that she wants to know, these are the types of things that us fans want to know, is these kind of behind the scenes inside things. While I know they might not seem exciting and sexy to you, Chris, is that, we follow, so many of us follow the Carolina Panthers so closely that we get bored of the headline talk. Is that anything on ESPN, NFL Network, that's old news to us, first of all. Second of all, it's distant, and we know it's not that in tune with the pulse of where we're at as a team. So we do like these small things. One of the things that I like to do is just talk about like places we ate at when we went to Spartanburg. So people are making the trip, some small things like that. So I know you guys have got a lot planned for Charlotte Vibe this year. Can you just give us, what are some of the things you hope to do with charlottevibe.com this year, in addition to what you've done in the past?
Yeah, the biggest thing by far is I'm really going to project that I want people that support me. I want to hear from you. I want to know what you want to know. And I want to really encourage people to use me to get that behind the scenes, whatever that question is. And I'll get it for you. And I'm also going to, as I've invited you guys to be on the show, I'm going to be inviting as many people as I can, whether you have, you could be more popular than me on YouTube or not. I don't care, but I just want to help the fans be a part of what I'm doing as much as I can this year. So that will by far be the biggest thing that you see is my push for that. And I'm trying to really make sure that's evident in everything I do, that I let people know, hey, let's talk. This is not just you listening. Any ideas? Somebody asked me about what celebrities are going to be at Cam Newton's kickball thing. So I was like, hey, good question. Let me try to find out. I was denied, but I'll try to find out.
All right. Well, you know what? Persist. That's what somebody told me when it came to my credentials. They said, keep pounding, Tony, and you'll get those credentials one day. One question.
You said I had two. One was the poll. I said 2 upcoming stories. The other one is I'm trying to get a behind-the-scenes tour of the facilities.
That is, now, when you say the facilities, you mean like the stadium facilities?
Like the practice rooms, the meeting rooms, like all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. That would be super dope.
Like, I've not been into the training room. Like, I'll peek for a second through the locker room, but then I know I'm not allowed in there.
Right.
So just trying to get that access to the training rooms, the meeting rooms, the auditoriums, where Ron Rivera's, like, where that hallway, what does that really look like?
Yeah, what we want to know, here's how you get that tour. This is what you say to him. We want to know where Ron Rivera makes those PowerPoints at. Because I always think that this is so weird, is that Ron Rivera lectures his class like I lecture mine with a PowerPoint. And he's like, check out this. This is the theme of today's PowerPoint. Key terms, referring back to slide 3. One question we did have for you on YouTube is Shaked wants to know,
That's my boy.
He said you got a black snake as a pet, and what did you name it?
Man, you guys, ever since that snake, so do you know the story?
No.
You guys know? All right, I don't know, maybe a month ago, could be a little bit more, no more than 2 months for sure. I did a Periscope of this black snake that was in my garage. Okay. And we trying to get it out.
Did you keep it?
You're trying to give me the curse, aren't you?
So you don't like snakes, huh?
Do you want a snake in your garage?
Heck no. I saw this video. My wife showed me this video of this guy that's trying to be this new like crocodile hunter dude. And he sat beside a diamondback rattlesnake or some mess like this. And the thing was crawling over. I was holding on to her. Like I was about to jump out of my seat. I didn't even realize I was that scared of something.
Man, it was one of those cases where you just have to man up. You don't want to do it. You're scared. But if you don't get it out of the house, who is? Right?
Right.
So you just walk the green mile. And so I'll put that on Periscope just to, again, show you guys I'm human.
Okay.
And it was funny. It's still out there.
All right. Well, so what were we saying? Some nicknames we had going earlier. We're talking about Football Shack. Now Chris Jenkins is known as the Black Mamba.
Now I'm the black.
All right. I think that I do want you. Here's one thing I do want you to keep out for is when you got nobody to talk to one day, go seek out Zeke Bigger, who is an ECU. He just got signed yesterday. He has just made the 90. Nobody knows about him but me and Joe because we follow the East Carolina Pirates. That's where I live at in Greenville, North Carolina. And he is kind of that feel-good story this year. Zeke Bigger made the team or at least got a contract for a week until somebody else happens. But just say that Greenville, them Pirates are cheering for you, brother. All right, it's at the end of the show. So what we're going to do is we got our ice up picks. You can hang out if you want, or you could just go ahead and tell everybody to catch what you're doing.
I'm going to just be rude and say 3 things that I wanted to say that you didn't ask.
All
Observations
right.
for the day.
No, I want this. Yes.
These are real quick. Joe Webb is still impressive to me.
Oh, God.
Because I saw that guy. From as far as what the team takes of him, they make this guy do everything, right? You can't blame him for doing to get a role. But I saw him literally go from running a route to sprinting back to the middle of the field to then be the quarterback and then throw to the other receivers that were running routes.
That's the coach's, that's the teacher's pet right there.
That's a lot. I mean, anyway, so that was like, wow, Joe
That is impressive. You're right. That is impressive.
And then he circled around and he was using that little telescopic arm to record everything, do a selfie.
Hey, Trey Turner was late for practice today. I don't know why. but he was pretty late. Julius Peppers was a no-show. He's just being held out because he's an old guy. And I kind of made one comment earlier about Cam Newton being eager to play because of doing those drills and wanting to throw, but he ran a lot today. So his conditioning should be pretty decent because, I mean, I saw this guy just run the length of the width of the field just over and over again.
Okay, actually, yeah, because you do bring up a couple of things that still, I guess we did miss, and that was Trey Turner. I saw this. This is what Panthers.com says. He had an issue with his flight, and Rivera joked that Turner was in a panic, despite that these are voluntary. So that's cool to hear the guy is that excited to be there on time. This is another thing on Panthers.com. Harrison Butker, who has got the best name on the Panthers team right now, is they said easily banged through a 60-yard field goal attempt today. Come on, guys. A little too graphic there. Harrison Butker easily banged through a 60. I mean, come on. Who wrote this? This is Max Henson. You know, he giggled when he wrote that. I did. A last question for you before, actually, because do you have one more observation, or did I catch all three of them?
That was it.
Okay. The last one is Charles Johnson continues to work on the sideline. Have you seen Damiere Byrd at all out there?
Yeah, Damiere, I can't say that I saw him doing drills, but I do specifically remember at the end of practice, Funches and Damiere ran some sprints.
Yeah.
And then after they ran those sprints, they went over to the ball machine and caught some balls.
That's my guy right there. I'm really cheering for him. I'm cheering for him as much as I'm cheering for Julius Peppers to cut them plats off. Joe, you got anything else before we go?
You think Damire's going to make it this year?
Yes, I do, but that's just I think that he should. That's what I think, is that I don't know if he will, but I think he should. And the reason I think that is because he's done everything that a team has asked him to do in very limited windows and opportunities. And, you know, you come back his rookie year, he fights to get on the team. He makes the practice squad his rookie year, or undrafted free agent. They say, you know what, you're too small, you're too slight of build to hang in the NFL. He goes on and puts 10 pounds. Rivera claps for him. We have him on the C3 podcast, said we're cheering for you. All of a sudden, the guy goes and explodes in the preseason. He's the highlight of the Panthers training camp. And then that, you know what, you just feel him edged out. So I want to believe that in a true meritocracy that Damiere Byrd can make it. If he will, I don't know.
Oh, we are pulling for
See,
him.
look, he's crying. I got my man crying because we're bird watching, man. That's my guy right there. He's been on the C3 podcast twice. How can we not love this kid? And we're rooting for the small guy. I'm telling you this, Damiere Byrd has sat on a JCPenney catalog before. You know that.
Not in my studio.
Nope. He puts it underneath the stool so they don't even know they're on it.
We got the hydraulic stools, man. You don't have to sit on the book.
Hey, you know what we call those? Telescoping stools. Telescopic stools. And let's see, I think that's it for Damiere Byrd. Is that other than the other is Kearis Garrett even on this team anymore? Nobody said his name at all. And last year he was that everybody always picks an undrafted rookie free agent. That's going to be the best thing ever. And last year it was Kearis Garrett. So this year I say unlock Kearis and free Bird.
Kearis is there this year.
Good. He's going to be, I mean, I just hope that there's truly, and you know this more than I do probably, is it really a meritocracy? Do people really make it because of what they do? Or are these guys fighting a battle they can't really win most of the time?
So it's just so profound. You know, you start off with that big word, and I didn't finish college, so I was just kind of stuck on that. I think it's really, you know, they say not for long. They talk about how cutthroat the NFL is. And I think they make the truest assessments they can on the guy's talent level and go from there. I don't think guys get any favor for any other reason.
Because they were drafted, and you don't want to look bad that you cut a guy that you drafted, even though Dave Gettleman has cut like all the people he drafted in 2015.
Yeah, even if they got drafted, I just think that naturally with the guy that you drafted, you're just going to believe in him a little bit more, even if he's failing, than a guy that wasn't drafted. Because you've seen the tape, you believed in this guy.
Right.
So you're going to be disappointed, but you're going to hold on for another year to give that guy a chance to develop. And if you weren't a guy that was drafted and you're just some, invite, then I really didn't believe in you anyway, and you're struggling, so you might as well get out of here.
So it's kind of like is that you give your kids a little bit more slack, but somebody else's kid, you're ready to whoop their tail when they get out of line. So the drafting one is sorry. I got children, man. I got children. This is what I was thinking. My kid busted their lip before we came on the show. Like there was blood everywhere, like 45 minutes before the show. I have little youngins, and so I was thinking about this is I give my children a lot of grace because they're mine, but I don't give any other people's kids no grace.
Right, get out of here.
Yeah, get out of here with that nonsense. In fact, like I don't even like to hold babies anymore. I'm like, get these mugs away. Yeah, I got enough of y'all. All right, so Chris, we're gonna do our ice up pick. So you want to hang out or you want to go?
I don't know. I don't have anything. Okay. I'll listen to you guys and I'll see if I have anything.
Okay. All right. Joe, you ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right. You hit them up. Ice up, son.
My pick for the Ice Up Sun tonight comes courtesy of Pro Football Talk. There was an unnamed NFL player who was suing his former financial advisor. Unfortunately, this is nothing new. Time and time again, we see these players put too much trust into their financial caretaker's hands. The problem is they don't keep themselves involved enough in what's going on with their money. They trust that the guy has interest at heart, and I'm sure who do. But you hear all too often about those who don't. In some circumstances, these financial managers are simply using the players' money to live a lavish lifestyle, pay their bills, get new cars, all sorts of things. Now, I really blame the players for this because of that. This particular case, however, was a little bit different. This player did not keep up with where his money was going, what was going on with it. So he lost about $4.5 million.
Ouch. I cry when I lose $40.
He's getting iced up is because of who his financial manager is.
Who is it?
His financial manager is Kenneth Ray Cleveland. And we all know in basketball, there is nothing that is any good that comes out of Cleveland.
Oh, gosh.
This unnamed NFL player, I say, ice up, son.
That's awesome.
$dollars.
I like that, Joe. You know why I like that is because one time I was in Vegas, the only time I was in Vegas, and I was on this. We were having the whole table was having a blast, having a run on the blackjack table, and I sat down with no money and played for over an hour, which is awesome. I mean, I turned like $5 into an hour worth of partying. And then, so my thing is this, is if you're ever at a casino and any Asian person, now you know there's a lot of Asian dealers. That's just a reality of Las Vegas. But if they only got 3 letters in their name, Han, like Han, you don't mess with them mugs. So you don't mess with no Clevelands. You don't mess with no Hans. All right. My ice up pick, 3-letter Asian names, no go in blackjack. Clean you out. Whole table. It's just crazy. All right, my ice up pick goes to, I guess her name is, and it's been so long, Kathy Griffin. All of a sudden she's a comedian that has been around for a long time, redheaded, kind of not so good looking, and I think she was like on The View maybe for a while, or it's one of these talk shows that they do in the mornings now that is ultra liberal. And look, I am pretty liberal, like I'm usually defending the libbies. So she tweeted out a picture of herself from a photo shoot holding up a fake decapitated head of Donald Trump. And it was bloody and it was awful.
Blood.
And here's the thing is that I don't care what your politics are. Actually, I do in real life. I think some people are stupid in their politics, but that's not here or there. But overall is like, this is just crappy. At some point, you lose all credibility, all seriousness when you go over the point. It's not funny. It wasn't comedic license, which I am in favor of that. I'm in favor of comedians be able to say funky stuff that regular people don't because they're comedians. I'm in favor of people holding their own political views that are contrary to everybody else's because I think that's great to be America. So I think you suck, Kathy Griffin, for making this about you. That's what that does. This whole moment is trying to bring attention to you and not bring attention to any real things. So you're a washed up comedian who ain't so good looking in the first place. And that's how you kind of you're trying to find some relevance. And I want to say, I think you're irrelevant. And to you, I say ice up. But God bless America, a place where you can tweet a picture of the president with a decapitated head and your mug, and the worst thing that happens to you is the C3 podcast ice you up. God bless that country. God bless that country. Chris, you want to ice up snakes?
Well, I'm going to use my eyes to do whatever I want.
Okay.
Because this is America. I can do whatever I want.
It is. He's going to put the hot compress on, it sounds like.
So what I just did, I'm using my ice up moment for a comedic moment. You should have a picture, which I don't know if you can share it easily with the world. I know you're a pretty technical guy.
All right, let me see what I can do.
But that's my my ice up moment.
Hold on. Where'd you put it at? Where'd you send it?
I tweeted it to you. It was a direct message.
Okay, hold on. Give me a second. All right, you talked me through this.
Give me a second.
You keep talking. You guys carry this conversation where I pull this up. It's gonna be anticlimactic, folks.
Yeah, I don't have anything on ice up, but I wanted to participate. I'm a photographer, so I just found something funny.
Oh yes, nice.
To share.
All right,
the haircut of the day.
This. They can't.
You
can't see it, but it is up. It is up. You can't see it, but everybody else can.
Okay, there it is.
This
person.
Hey,
Thornton.
He's like curly. He's got curly locks. He's like a little Goldilocks.
Like a perm?
Like a.
Let me see if I can help. I don't know. Here, I'll show it to you, Joe. Maybe I can do it up here for you guys. But this is, let me see, a picture of Brenton Burson. I can't do it up here, Joe. Oh, wait.
Right.
Hold on. Share screen. Maybe Joey can see it. Nope.
It's all right.
Yes.
That's what.
Joe, can you see that?
I don't see anything.
Nope.
Well, I just want to ask you, since you can see it, does he now move up the rankings for worst haircut of the moment, or you keep it?
No, I think this is that. I think there's some style to it. I think it's kind of stylish. I think this is what I would say is that if that back start growing out, you know what? This is him flirting with long hair again. That's what this is.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was going to ask. You think he's going back to the long hair, and that's just where it has to be right now?
It's pretty close. Pretty close. That how the heck does this man still? It's so awesome. You talk about a guy. This guy is never getting iced up on the C3 podcast because this guy has turned being Jerry Richardson's pool boy / mowing his grass into a lifelong career on the Carolina Panthers.
I don't know if I say lifelong, but he's made a few million.
Man, it's great. I mean, talk about it. Do you think does Cam truly have that great relationship with him? Because a lot of people say Cam really likes him. Have you seen? Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
All right, that's what you got to do. That's my question to you is I'm putting you on the investigative tip. tell us what we can find out about Cam Newton's thoughts on Brenton Burson. Now, you don't come out and ask him, but you got to do this. You guys got to watch it. Watch it from afar.
Well, that's my observation. I don't see their lockers aren't miles apart.
See?
And
they're buddies.
Again, I'm not.
Why do you think that he did a blonde goatee? That's his homage to Brenton Burson. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Here we go. Chris, one more question. Last question. Question.
You do it, Joe.
When was the last time you actually put eyes on Michael Orr?
Oh.
On Michael Orr?
Yeah.
Tuh.
Last year?
I don't know what week. Week 6, week 7.
Last year, Joe. Last year.
Wow. I think that's really a bad omen. I really feel that way.
All right. You guys can't hear it, but I can, and I got the outro music going on. This is the C3 Podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. We had a special guest tonight who hung out much longer than usual. He must have gotten special permission from his non-wife. He's staying up late. He's staying up past his bedtime. Chris Jenkins, Charlotte Vibe, tell them where the best way they can find your work.
Everything is Charlotte Vibe. Website, charlottevibe.com, and all the social medias are Charlotte Vibe. And I welcome anybody that's listening, including the guys that I'm sitting with. Any questions that you guys have, let me know, and I'll try to find it out for you. I work for you guys.
My challenge to all people listening to this show now, when you check out the next Periscope for Charlotte Vibe, don't just participate. Don't just throw the hearts out. Throw that retweet and that share out. I want Chris to see that the C3 Podcast can bring him a little love for his own show so that Tony gets a special stool. So, Joe, where can they find you at, brother?
You can find me on Twitter at Joe Will.
All right.
I'm going to make it to Charlotte with Tony. We're coming on there. You're going to have a threesome on your show. You're going to have 2 special guests at the same time.
This is getting really weird, Joe. You got Chris Jenkins. You got a girl named Miss Moody. Don't be confused. And then Joe's talking about the threesome. This is wild, folks. And then Max Henson is talking about banging 60-yarders with Butker.
We'll just have a dag on.
Yeah, don't say it. Don't say it. The
it.
Carolina Panthers are watching. And if this is what I do. I challenge you, Big Cat. Share this podcast. My name's Tony Dunn. This is C3 Podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. And until next Tuesday, you keep pounding just like Mr. Butker.